All right, so today we're going to do a deep dive into something that's, I think, super practical for a lot of businesses out there, and that is how to manage buying like the same thing from a bunch of different manufacturers.
Right.
And the way that SAP does this is by using something called manufacturer part numbers, or MPNs.
Yep.
And we've got a great YouTube video that's going to walk us through all the steps.
Okay.
But I think the big question for anybody listening is like, how do you, as a business, how do you like smoothly and efficiently buy the same part from different suppliers?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, that's a pretty common scenario.
Yeah.
And MPNs is really a way to kind of bring order to that whole process. You might be buying electronic components or whatever it is from all sorts of different places.
Right.
And so SAP gives you these MPN material master records.
Okay.
And actually, they have a specific material type called HERS.
HERS.
Yeah, HERS, which is basically designed just for this.
Okay, so it's like a special container for these.
Exactly, yeah. Think of it like a dedicated bucket.
Got it, okay.
For all that manufacturer-specific info.
So, like, if we were buying, like, the same sensor from, like, SensorTech and then precision sensors, we would use this HERS record.
You got it.
Okay, now, when we're looking at the purchasing view for these records, what kind of information are we actually keeping track of in there?
So the key things you're going to see in there are the manufacturer part number itself. So that's like SensorTech's unique code for their sensor and Precision Sensors code for theirs.
All right.
You'll also have the manufacturer, obviously, so that could be an existing vendor in your system or, a specific manufacturer record. And then the really important part is you connect that MPN record to your own company's material number.
Okay.
So that's the code you use to track that sensor in your own inventory.
Got it. Okay.
That's how you tie it all together.
Okay. So you're taking their ID and who made it.
And you're linking that to our internal ID.
Exactly.
For that same item.
Okay. Makes sense, right?
Makes perfect sense, yeah.
Keeps everything nice and clean.
Now, the video also mentions this transaction code, MP01, which is for maintaining manufacturer information.
Yes. That's a good one.
What's the point of using that?
So MP01 stands for Maintain Approved Manufacturer Parts.
Oh.
It basically gives you a central place to manage which manufacturers you're allowed to buy specific MPNs from.
Oh, so it's kind of like a pre-approved vendor list?
Exactly. Yeah, it's like a vetted list of suppliers.
That's really smart.
Yeah. It can be really helpful, especially if you have agreements in place or you're really concerned about quality control.
For certain parts.
Yeah, exactly.
Okay, cool. So then the next thing that they talk about is configuring the manufacturer part profile in the system settings.
Okay.
And this sounds like this is where we define the rules of the game. Yeah, this is where you get to set things up the way you want them.
For these MPNs. Okay. So walk me through that.
All right, so you're going to go to SPRO and then materials management, purchasing material master, and then define manufacturer part profile.
Okay.
And there's this important setting there called AMPL management.
AMPL management.
Yeah, it stands for Approved Manufacturer Parts List Management.
Got it.
And by activating this, you're basically telling the system, hey, check against those approved manufacturer lists every time someone tries to buy something.
So it's like a safety check.
Exactly. Yeah, make sure you're not accidentally ordering from some unapproved vendor.
Got it. Okay. And then we assign this profile using MM02 in the purchasing view of our main material, right?
Yep, that's right. So you go to the purchasing view of your company's material number. So that's your internal code to that sensor, right? And you assign the manufacturer part profile to it.
Okay, so now the system knows that this sensor in our inventory can have corresponding MPNs from different...
Exactly, yeah. It all links together.
Approved manufacturers.
Okay.
Now, a really important point here is about stock management.
Okay.
The video says that stock is managed at our company's material number level.
Right.
Not the individual MPNs. So why is that so important?
Well, think about it this way. When those sensors arrive from SensorTech and Precision Sensors, they're all going to the same place.
Right, into our warehouse.
Exactly. You don't want to be counting them separately.
Yeah.
Just because they came from different manufacturers.
That would be a nightmare.
Yeah, it'd be a mess. So you manage the stock based on your company's code for that sensor type.
So we're just looking at the total number.
Exactly.
Yeah.
You're looking at the big picture.
The sensors we have.
And the MPN information is really there to help you with the buying process.
Okay.
Knowing where you got each part from.
So just for tracking, not for
exactly.
inventory purposes.
Okay. Yeah.
And then the last thing the video talks about is creating a purchase order.
Right.
So in practice, when we generate a PO, we can just specify the MPN we want, and the system will automatically know that that's linked back.
Exactly. Yeah, the system is smart enough to connect the dots.
To our internal item code.
Okay.
So just to kind of recap for everybody listening, MPNs in a material master are a really clever way for businesses to deal with parts that they can get from multiple suppliers by managing everything under a single internal material code, but still keeping track of all the manufacturer-specific details. You can make your buying process more efficient and keep your inventory super accurate.
Absolutely. Yeah, it's all about streamlining and staying organized.
Now, this makes me think, like, if you have this kind of system in place where you know exactly what parts you need and who you can buy them from, do you think that gives you more leverage?
That's an interesting question.
When you're negotiating with suppliers.
You know, I think it definitely could.
Yeah.
Because now you're not stuck with just one vendor.
Right.
You have options, and that puts you in a stronger position.
You could even maybe play them off each other?
Well, I don't know about playing them off each other.
Yeah.
But you could definitely use that knowledge to negotiate better prices.
Yeah.
Or maybe even get better terms, longer payment periods, things like that.
Or like faster delivery times.
Exactly. Yeah. The possibilities are endless.
So it's not just about inventory management.
Right.
It's also about your whole supply chain strategy.
Absolutely. It's all connected.
That's really interesting food for thought for everybody listening.
Yeah. I hope this has been helpful.
Definitely. Thanks for joining us.
It was my pleasure.
All right. That's it for this deep dive.
See ya.
Catch you next time.
Bye.